Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4's Black Ice. Alright, well, I don't think we need to keep the fighters over there. Let's move you up to here, and we will move you over there. Doesn't look like we're being bombed much. Oh no, we are being fighting over here. Okay. Yeah, okay. I mistakenly spoke too soon before paying attention here. Okay, we are being bombed now. Well, that's a lot of bombing. I mean, I know what to do, but I don't know what to do. I mean, you put up fighters and you shoot all the enemy bombers down. Okay, and we're going to go for interception there. I'm trying to crank out as many fighters as I can. Most of these are captured crap. Well, no. We'll just keep production rolling along. Support that attack there. You guys can support it from down here. Well, you can just attack to sort of pin these guys here that are retreating. Well, put somebody on the outskirts of Minsk, so go into Minsk. You guys keep going forward. You guys keep moving up here. You guys keep moving there. Going up that way. One of you can go that way. Okay, it looks like we are going to get this very soon here. Closed off entirely. Let's push here now. Push with 2 divisions here now. Okay, and we've got that actually closed off. Another great pocket. Maybe not as big as some of them, but still. Okay, well, we have a possible. Well, they're retreating, so we're going to push here again. Okay. You move up that way. Good. So we're deep in here. We're trying to cross there. You come that way, that way. No, you stay there. You were meant really just to support the attack, but looks like it's doing well. You hit that. You can pocket those guys. That would be nice. There is well, actually, these guys should pocket. Yeah. So they're going to be faster. Okay, so we do have a pocket here now, and they're all collapsing in on themselves. Very good. Let's. Okay, you guys here, cross there. You're coming across. You're coming up. Okay, we have taken Minsk. That is a bit of an achievement, I would say. Doesn't mean we've won the war or anything like that, but we have no idea how harsh winter is going to be on us. Okay, well. Let's look at supplies. Okay. So see now again, we are needing to understand this war, this fight now in railway terms, and we have to do union requests. Ah, yes. Or they'll not participate. Okay, that's a good idea. I should request forces here. So, oh, pause. I want to look at this and talk. Where before it didn't matter what hexes you took because it, one of the stupid decisions of the design here to, oh, infrastructure equals railways. No. But we don't want to do the Battle of Narva here. We want to push up through here. So we need this railway connection here. So we need to take, well, this railway's down through here. So let's push there with you. And so if we can get that and push up this way, that will help. Obviously, yes, we're going to. Okay. Yes, let's come over here to Hungary. Well, we could do that. I don't want to send. I want to. What am I Return expeditions. No, we don't want to send. Best garrison support. No, I don't want to control the state. Don't want to give control of the state. Don't want to return. We don't want to send. Well, it doesn't look like I can request them right now. We'll request some garrison support. Are we being invaded? I don't know. Are we being invaded somewhere? I don't know. Well, when they get to Berlin, we'll notice, I'm sure. Now, let's look here. So, going to Moscow. We need logistical support up through here. Now, we just got Minsk. So we need to come here to Smolensk. Looks like we are outstripping our non-motorized forces. Yeah, turn more this way though. These guys have got to get through marching this way. You guys can this way. Not sure where we are being invaded. Is this battle going on out here? Invading Romania or something? I don't know. These guys are getting there. Come on, close this pocket before they all escape. I'm not going to escape that. Okay, take over CKD. Now, I don't know if Folk or somebody else here has a good suggestion for the next. I remember thinking that somebody did, but I wanted to get one of these Czech things that should have been long before. Artillery factory, small arms factory, that would be nice. Economics minister. Expand the Reichsarbeitsdienst. Days. Proof from our Bulgaria. Romanian training. Develop Hungarian aviation. Don't know if that will really help us. Support Italian claims. Send economic assistance to Italy. Hey, Frog Eyes, how you doing? At the bottom of a selected army screen, you will see Request Expeditionary Forces. Click on it, but you will need to have battle plan or fallback line or another order to get them. Oh, okay. Okay. Since I don't have any battle plans or fallback lines. Okay, that could be why I'm not. Oh, Ken Tool, how you doing? Reevaluate the number. Oh, yeah, that's I've been raging about that for so long. Because there's so many that I don't think established Gestapo. Military police gains garrison. Foreign civil. There are good to guard French coast to free. Yes. Okay, we will do the Gestapo. See, something like that should have been done a long time ago. And yeah, there may be one or two. Okay, we lost a submarine, took out a convoy. Not necessarily terribly great exchange. But yeah, okay. These are probably air attacks that we're helping with here. Took out a French convoy. Ooh, we took out a heavy cruiser and a light cruiser and a British convoy. Again, we just helped with our air. You're absolutely right. So, let's establish a front. Well, no, let's establish a fallback line here with you. Okay. Now, would that be enough to come here and select screen? See requests. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Let's just see if we can get this going here. Hopefully I can send them wherever once I get them. We have been embargoed by the Republic of Finland. All imports received have been canceled. Oh. Okay, I don't know what that. I mean, I know we haven't done the northern sort of. Let's go up here. We're losing some convoys, so I don't know. We get the forces, and then we'll send them somewhere to hopefully. Okay. Well, how are we doing here? Okay, well, we're getting some of our railways done to be able to supply stuff to the east better. I guess we can garrison equipment. Yeah, I did not, I have not, gone to the northerly route. Um, and I'll tell you the reason I didn't go the northerly route. National focuses were way behind. Again, I don't think I radically, again, I don't know, not everyone watches everything, but I didn't hardly do any of the Army, didn't hardly do any of the Navy or the Air Force. National focuses, and and I don't think I like focused down on something that should have been done, much later in, you know, times. Now, some here do have, um, dates, not just earlier focuses, but dates to do that. And so, again, if you're going, well, hey, gamer, we reduce the time down too much, whatever too much would be, you can just do them all through, and then everyone would be just sitting there and waiting. Well, it put conditions like this one does, control Paris and Warsaw controlled. Okay. You know, you put conditions, control certain territories, put conditions um, that are date related. And of course, we have, puppet or befriend Turkey, or um, if you want to, these are designed to, do you want to focus more on Henschel or Junkers? Not that these both can't be going on in, researching aircraft types or whatever, but if you want to get some of these a bit earlier, so you want to like focus your resources on a particular company, that to me seems great. Meaning choices to be made, can't, with the national focuses, can't do the everything, but can do a lot. And also here, another thing I would say is, let's go to all purpose here. I don't think I've, for Germany, one of the most research industrially developed nations on the planet at the time, can be argued, and some of them are, you know, German patriot, ready for Germany. And we have a few. Hi, you guys know who you are. We talk often. Germany be best. Yes, they've lost twice in the everybody in the world against Germany, matchups, but still that they came as close as they did against everybody in the world, is a remarkable feat. Again, I'm not condoning their politics. Especially the Nazis, as opposed to, world conquest is bad enough, and then behaving badly once you do it. Um, we can talk about that, but just as a tactical exercise, the Czech tanks, Czechoslovakia was basically the industrial center for the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Up until German takeover, they did not have the welding techniques distributed enough. I'm not saying there isn't somebody who knew how to do it, but they didn't have the welding techniques and the machinery set up enough to weld tank armor. They were doing all their tank armors with rivets. Germany was one of the most advanced welding nations on the planet. Italy was another one. They could not. Again, I'm not saying there wasn't somebody out somewhere in the Italian industrial capacity that couldn't weld things. And I'd have to maybe look at some of the ship buildings that, some of the gun turrets that very well may have done so. But, and again, part of these things aren't just Do they have a manual somewhere that teaches armored units how to do this? Sure, punk. Okay. No, what this is, I mean, that's an element of it. But what this represents is, yes, developing a tactical doctrine, sort of finalizing it again into like Germans obviously would publish everything, but then distribute it out, up and down the command chain so that, and like we can mention, hey, ARC Trooper, how you doing? Mention Ukraine. Ukraine is supposedly on an offensive, and you saw that recently where some Bradley fighting vehicles, I believe it was, or were they Martyrs? I forget. I think they were Bradleys, and some Leopards that got messed up and destroyed by the Russians. Now, supposedly, the vehicles did their job and that most of the crews survived. So that's, compared to the, I'm going to say Soviet design philosophy that has permeated both Russian and Ukrainian, because they both inherited the Soviet design and tactical doctrine mentality. Vehicles that a lot more of the crew would be dead or seriously maimed or whatever. So the vehicles did their job. Now, supposedly, and I don't know how true this is, so I haven't reported it. Everyone out there, I do have another YouTube channel called Crisis Report. If you even search on it, doesn't necessarily show up, but you can poke me and I'll, in the description or in a comment, if you can't find it, I'll post a link to it, except I won't remember. But so I haven't reported on this. Supposedly they were told by their advisors, whether in-country or training advisors, I don't know. I think there's probably more in-country advisors than most Western allies want to admit. But for multiple reasons, both their own domestic reasons internally, whatever the country, as well as admitting it to Russia. But so that they should just sort of bypass or whatnot when they encounter a minefield. Well, supposedly, and again, I don't know if this could just be somebody's entire bullshit that somebody put out on the internet and other people repeat. That, so that's why I haven't reported on it. Because they're looking at minefields that are being placed in places like Iraq and Afghanistan that are fairly limited. And you find out where there's one and you circle around it and you go on around it. Now, I don't know who is advising them, because I do know particularly the Marines started it, and I think now that the Marines no longer have an armored component, which I think giving it up entirely was a mistake. Reducing it down dramatically, I think, was actually a good idea. I would keep a company or two of Abrams in the Marines inventory, and I would just do a deal with the Army for training facilities and training time. So instead of having, the whole Marine Corps cadre of trainers and logistical support and all of that stuff, just go, hey, yeah, go, because, we have the National Training Center. I know I'm jumping around topics, but sorry. The National Training Center out here in California is where, they have an opposition force, if you don't know. Again, I don't always know who I'm talking to. I know some of the people here by name, but how informed you are of things. And there's some really good forces. The OPFOR is well trained to be opposition forces and routinely rolls over American units. My cousin trained out there many years ago when he was, platoon leader for an Abrams platoon. So this is, I've read articles and other things, but I've also talked to him at length about his experiences out there. So, and I don't know if the Marines have ever, when they had, I don't know if they've ever even trained out at the National Training Center for the Army. because it's for the Army out in California here. But just use training schools, training whatever from the Army, um, and then just have some units because because I remember another good friend who was a for a while an M60 driver for the Marine Corps, M60 tank. Um, the Marines did not like so much the getting the Abrams because they used to on the LCACs, that's the air cushioned landing craft, be able to put three M60s on an LCAC, but they could only put one Abrams. I think a part of it was weight, but mostly it was the size of the tank just got too big to be able to put multiple Abrams on it. I don't even think they could fit two on there. And so he, do part of his career he drove an M60, and part of it was an amphibious tractor, an Amtrak, an armored landing vehicle he drove. Short guy. That's why he could fit in tanks well. And I've always been a bit of an advocate for a smaller Marine Corps. And some of the Marines, including him, often took that as being anti-Marine. No, it's just I don't think we need a fourth branch, of American Armed Forces. And I do think the Marines do a very, very good service. I just think, keep them elite and keep them a bit smaller. So having tank battalions, because they did have those, is probably more than you need for the Marines. Because if you need tank battalions in the war, against Iraq, just have Army tank divisions moving around, or infantry divisions that have a tank battalion as part of them, or whatever. Just have that. Marines should be focused on expeditionary landing operations. And yeah, when you go into the Iraq or Afghanistan, yeah, you can bring some Marines along with you so they can participate, and even if there's no amphibious component to the operation, yeah, sure, you can bring them along, but you don't need to bring them heavy maneuver division, shall we say. But you also want to train forces in combined arms and to work closely with each other, okay? So you want to do that. And yes, the best use on large scale, and I'm going to work my way back through all the topics here. Don't worry, I'll try to do all this. I know I'm on one. We'll get back to Ukraine in a moment. That's touching on some of this stuff here. That you want a combined arms element. Armor, yes. As we're seeing again in World War II, exemplified, mass attack tanks fighting together, overrunning your enemies, pushing hard, concentrated effort instead of like the French pattern of, let's give every, infantry division a tank company. You know what? It's best if you can mass your tanks and give every infantry division a tank company. That would be the ideal solution. The question is do you have enough tanks? Can you support the fuel, logistics, and production of ammo for all those tanks shooting, guns out, their guns? So that's where, that may fall down on what you're trying to do. But again, it is still useful to have tanks supporting infantry operations. That can be very critical. Instead of tanks leading the operation, especially in open areas, and only falling back once you hit a city or urban area, that you move them back into the support role. Okay, that's good for big maneuver fighting, but hey, whether it's a little Pacific island that you're going to attack or defend, or I don't know, let's just pick on a nation that is actually sort of being somewhat friendly to America right now, but Vietnam. Let's just say something goes, pear-shaped, goes upside down, and we've got a bunch of Americans in Da Nang, um, and there's chaos locally or whatever, and equivalent of another, like whether it's a collapsed state or a civil war, it might be whatever, and they're no Americans get to show up here. No, the Americans are coming in, Americans are securing this, they're going to pull out the American civilian population or whatever that may be there, and of course maybe a bunch of other foreign nationals that we want to pull out, and we're coming ashore. We're not like invading well, yes, we are invading Vietnam in this case, but we're not like trying to take it over, so we're not doing massive amphibious assault. We're just coming ashore against without permission in a chaotic environment, whether the locals are going to, and this very well may be determined. If you got 5 Marines showing up with M4s, or you have 500 Marines showing up with 5 tanks, well, they might shoot at the 5 guys that show up on their own, but they might decide, I don't really want to die today, so we'll just let the Marines come in and do their thing, and we won't oppose them. So sometimes you want to come in with a lot of force so that you don't have to fight. Well, like I say, tanks are still useful vehicles in support. There is still nothing like a tank on the battlefield except another tank. Now, they have their vulnerabilities. They're not they've never were a complete wonder weapon. And whether it's in World War II or in the Cold War era with an RPG-7, you get a few volleys of those things, they're going to decimate your tanks if you're fighting in close terrain. So never a wonder weapon, but there's nothing like a tank on the battlefield except a tank, except no substitutes. So that they've given up their tanks entirely means either 1, you can't have any tanks, or 2, you're going to bring in some random army unit that, yes, America has the ability to go, oh shit, we're going to need some tanks. Well, we don't have any tanks anywhere around here. We just put some on some airplanes and fly them to, to the Philippines or something, very quick, and 24 hours or whatever, and offload them with their crews, and voila, we now have tanks. So America has that, and the only nation really that has that strategic ability here on the planet, that we can flight time. Hey, Lawless! Everyone say hi to Lawless. Lawless is a good friend. He has not been watching my videos recently because he's not a big fan of Hearts of Iron 4, waiting for me to do another Hearts of Iron 3 series. And there will be one coming, trademark, soon, but I don't know how soon that is, but say hi. So, yeah, but now you've just pulled in a random armor unit that's trained to fight the way the army wants to fight, the way the army wants to use the tanks. And they know none of these Marine people around them, and none of the Marine people know them. Where if you had equivalent of 1 or 2 companies of, Abrams still in the Marine inventory, that they're Marines. They train with other Marines. Sure, the Marines that they're sent to support might not be the same, they might not be an integrated force, because again, like I'm saying, a couple of companies that then I would probably deploy them in platoon strength, attach them temporarily to, amphibious brigades or, amphibious units, so that they're around and they participate in the training and the planning and whatnot. But they at least have the same, material culture, fighting culture between them, the various Marine elements. So it was a mistake to completely get rid of them. I understand that it was a budgetary issue and various things, and if you got to cut somewhere, they decided to cut the Marine Corps, or the tanks, the tank element of the Marines, and I again do think it's too big of, or had been a too big of a force. But you can, you need maintenance training, you need whatever. You just suck that part off the Army. Now, again, the reason I got there was the Marines developed the Miklik. Well, the Miklik was, I don't know, developed for the Army or whatever, but it was developed as a trailer towed um, instrument that you would tow behind something, and truck, armored personnel carrier, tank, whatever, and it would fire a rocket charge that go up in the skyrocket, go up in the air. Probably, I know some of you guys know exactly what it is, and maybe even somebody watching has actually fired one of these things. I would have loved to fire one of them. Really cool. Goes up in there and it trails this big long cord of explosive behind it. It goes lays flat on the ground, and then I think it said and then you hit the detonation, go boom, and it blows it up. They found it worked really, really well in places like Afghanistan as an anti-personnel weapon, because you're sort of maybe getting in close to the enemy, and not just uh, as a mine clearing. But so they had these things. Now the Marine Corps took some M1 Abrams, popped the turrets off, put on a sort of an unarmed pseudo turret. They mounted a 50 cal on it because yes, you need that, and then had two of these Mikliks things at the back of these turrets, and then of course they liked plows, mine clearing plows. The problem with mine clearing plows, and the reason they liked them a lot, is because when they tried to use mine clearing rollers in a place like Afghanistan, or I mean not Afghanistan, but Iraq and Saudi Arabia and whatever, the rollers wouldn't roll. They just end up sort of pushing and not well the sand in front of them. But the reason I see all of the Abrams running around and other vehicles running around with mine clearing plows. The problem with that is they're destructive to whatever they're plowing up. So yeah, out in the sandbox and out in the actual sand, sort of kind of need the plows. But let's say if you're going along a national highway and somebody tunnels in from the side, that was an old trick to do, to go into even in dirt roads because they could see it disturbed, is tunnel in sort of from the side of the road under there and plant your explosives, whether command detonated or mined. But if it's a mine, pressure mine, or magnetic, either way, you know, so you can't visually see the mines. And yeah, I know they also, for some of the magnetics, they have sensors and whatnot. But that way you can roll down one of these roads without doing any damage to it, unless there is a mine there. And then, of course, it's going to blow up, and it's going to be limited damage to where the mine blew up, not tearing up the entire road as you roll down it, whether it's a dirt road or a paved road or whatever. So rollers are still very, very good. To me, it's entirely just situational, and maybe in certain terrains, nine times out of 10, you're going to want mine plows, so you just use mine plows. But other times, you may know that you want to use rollers or whatever. So yeah, so they were sort of, again, the point is that the Ukrainians were sort of being told to bypass or go around or just plow through. They're not going to be very dense minefields, but the Russians supposedly did a really long, big stream. In one of the comments, like 100-mile long minefield. Now you have no idea that it's that long or whatever, but and yes, I've definitely seen in there. I think it was recently. Is it Azerbaijan or Georgia? I think it was Azerbaijan was sending Ukraine a few mine clearing vehicles, armored vehicles. So again, I don't know if that sort of ambush or that shoot up of NATO vehicles was because they were advised to simply sort of go around the minefield when they did that, or whether it comes to, and again, we're talking about remind everyone, um, doctrines. I am sure, and I've gotten, not direct feedback from anybody who's actually trained the Ukrainians personally. I mean, I've supposedly the people that have come into various Western nations, the Ukrainians have picked up operating their, whether it's Challengers or Leopards or Bradley fighting vehicles or whatever it is, um, very well and effectively. That they're serious. They learn. They know how to drive their vehicles. They know how to shoot their vehicles. They're supposedly doing well in their immediate tactical training. But does that mean their superiors at whatever level do they know how these vehicles should be employed? I don't know that they do. I don't know whether, again, this was a, just sort of ignore the minefield and, you identify the minefield. Well, just go around it instead of halting because they did not have mine clearing equipment, because they did not have Mikliks or mine rollers or mine plows in the formations that we're trying to push. I'm not saying they didn't have necessarily any somewhere in Ukraine. I'm just saying at the point of contact, they didn't have them. And so I know that if the U.S. Army is coming in and it's properly equipped as it plans to be, they're just going to pop some Mikliks, whether because I think they've also adopted some of the Abrams from leftover Marine Corps ones, and they're going to clear those minefields and just keep on moving. But they're going to clear them, and this comes, so the doctrines are not just the operator knows how to do it, but the general, the colonel, the major, the captain, the lieutenant, they all know the doctrine. They've all lived and experienced the doctrine, even if it's a new doctrine. They've developed it, and that's what a lot of this takes. And so, I get on the research that a lot of this stuff should take time, but we have, and again, I think I've gotten practically all of these that I'm could or supposed to, meaning there's not any major ones. There might be one or two. I don't know that I've missed somehow, but and I'm way behind. And this really isn't a complaint. This is just a comment. I'm way behind because I again done very, very other than you know uh, this can only do this, this. So yeah, this forces me, and I like the style of, hey, these are what, this is an aircraft design. They're not going to start designing tanks. These guys know how to design aircraft, and that's what you're looking at. I like that some of these are focused in, and I like that some are general. I really like that feature. It's not a bug; it's a feature. It's just either you need a lot more slots, if you will, or you need to reduce the research time on these vehicles, as well as we started at the national focus. I know it was a long way. Hope it was interesting to get back to where we were. Well, yeah, okay. Oh, they've left this province, so we might as well occupy it. You come this way, even though we do need to take that. They're pushing in to try to cut that off. You guys, both divisions attack there. The reason I'm doing that is so I can have this division support the attack. So that's 3 divisions attacking instead of just 2. These guys are getting across the river someday. Hopefully they can keep holding. Again, I don't know what's invading there. We've got this pocket here that looks like it's coming down, and let's support this attack here. Okay, they've got one little... No. There. Okay, you 3 mountain divisions, you head towards the Prepet marshes. You can just march there. We can clear that area out with hopefully fighters somewhat capable of dealing with that. You can move up along the rail. Good roads there. I don't know why you didn't. Okay, so right here we're gonna send Infantry Regiment Liebstandart. Take a quick look at its template. So it's just a motorized regiment. Does have some tank destroyers in it, or assault guns, and an armored division and a motorized infantry division, and attack there. These guys are pushing that way. Let's go here. Let's push along there. Okay. Well, that may go fast enough. We'll see what we encounter up here. Okay, good. We finally got this closed. Okay, you can support that attack. Support our allies, and you can support that attack. I think we'll hold there. Alright. Oh, good. They've actually evacuated some of these provinces. Very good. Okay, you fill in there. You come there. I think we need to dip down here just to make sure we get this railway picked off soon. You 2 infantry divisions go that way. Okay. I don't know. One of the biggest conundrum I have whenever I'm invading the Soviet Union is how much armored forces to the north and there, and how much to the south. That's right now over these divisions. Okay, well, I think we will send you guys south. Not that I have enough in the north, but avoid that fight. Yeah, everybody crossed through. Medium artillery has improved. Well, isn't that good? So I don't think there should be a... I get the idea that was presented, that some of the stuff in this game should be meant for choices, that you're not going to have everything. Well, you know, especially once America gets rolling, yeah, America gets to have everything. They have that. They have enough research, enough industrial capacity, and proper research takes industrial capacity. It's not a pure theoretical, because again, you have to do practical elements to it. Okay, gains experience. Very good. You should just keep coming up. There's a talent, I guess. And you can march that way, maybe? Well, you should, yes, you're absolutely right. Okay, again, this should not be so low. War support, yeah, 90%, that's good. What is going to do the most? This one. We fight united. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, so the Soviets are pushing against them there. We're going to try to swing around behind these guys to get across the river. Hey, Ragar. Well, what's killing it still is Himmler, which I totally disagree that he is... the SS were a destabilizing factor. I would very much argue they were a stabilizing factor within Germany itself. And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about occupied territories. We're talking about stabilized within Germany. Okay, right. Okay, 2 divisions. You attack there. Pin them. Get a few more across them. Try to break out. Well, they've fallen back from here, so let's... With all 7 of those divisions are there. We're going to get stomped. Factory floor training and advanced rubber processing. All right. Okay, so... we just got... here. Factory floor training, very good. So increase factory repair speed, production efficiency, production to grow 25%. So that's really good. That's going to help us out a lot. Yeah. Look at power gain, reduce encryption though. Not that that's a big problem. One of these help with turret output, airbase construction speed. You do another rant. Here again, these are unresearched ones are gold or brown or beige. Research ones are green. It's the opposite for national focuses. Get your damn colors straight so that I don't have to think about this. I want to think about everything else and not which one. Antibiotics. Population. Okay, nice, but I think I'm going to go for... Well, let's look over here. Not doing nukes. Not doing jet engines this playthrough. This is, again, people who, see an infamous Curson, yes. Himmler causing instability by messing with astrological alignments of the Reich. Well, yeah, I hear you, but... Again, I would argue they are more of a stabilizing than an unstabilizing factor. I do get the whole Holocaust thing, and that may be what I'm presuming that's what they are referencing. But yeah, the Jews, let's see if I can get this right, Kristallnacht is in 1938. But by that point, the Jews had already been removed from public life, meaning they were no longer in any schools, either as students or as teachers, administrators, or any of that thing. They're no longer in any government jobs. They're no longer in the Army or the Navy. They no longer have any high-profile positions in any companies. Not saying they wouldn't necessarily be a, 1938 I'm talking about. They wouldn't be some worker in some factory or something, just keeping their head down. Or before Kristallnacht, struggling along with the Jewish-owned businesses. They're definitely there, but it's been a few years ago. Simpson and Sons, which are located in this area of Germany, sort of Erfurt and whatnot around here. At the end of World War I, I'll describe it this way, they were the smallest of the big arms manufacturers in Germany. The smallest one, yes, but of the big ones. And that is why that they were the one company by the Versailles Treaty that was allowed to continue making arms for the German armed forces, the Army and the Navy or whatnot. Because even though they were going to be down to 100,000 men, it was, understood that, yes, you're going to, re-equip these soldiers over time, whether it's new models of things or just, replacing worn out whatevers. so that they, get there. So that was the one company. Now it happened to be, and I don't think this was in any way the reason for it. It happened to be Jewish owned company. And they were, one of their big things is if you ever get like a double dated, particularly Luger, that has two dates. The second date will be, I believe it's 1920 and later. Well, and it'll be in the 20s and early 20s, in which they were sort of doing a buyback kind of program on weapons, generally speaking. But they didn't want, once they didn't want somebody go, oh, here, turn in, 100 Lugers or something for whatever means. And then, okay, good, and we'll give them to this police department here. And then somebody take those same Lugers back in and get the bonus again and keep going through. So they do a refurbish on them. They'd look at them, make sure that they were all functioning right. If they were worn out parts, replace them and make sure they fitted properly, and everything, and so that these were ready to go guns. And they'd put the second date on it so you couldn't go through it. Well, I talked to this, and I knew before, and this is they played my mod Third Reich events, and that's why they contacted me. I was dealing with the Simpson and Company, and I talked to him just text messaging, but a bit on it. That during the 20s and early 30s, before 1933, they very much cooperated with German military authorities, and I think happily so. Now, when the Nazis come to power, like, and this is sometime in 1933, they shocking that Simpson's company has been charging the government twice as much as they should for rifles and other, guns or whatever they're doing. They're twice as much. Here's all the paperwork. We can show you. They are overcharging. They are profiteering from the Germans. We have to confiscate this company from these Jews who are abusing the German state because they're charging twice as much as as they should for these. A Mauser rifle costs twice as much as anyone should have to pay for it. Not, but they're being billed, and they're saying, we're, instead of $30 for a Mauser rifle, we're charging you $60. Yeah, there you go, government. There's the paperwork proving. They've been doing all this time. The government just didn't say anything about it. Because the government was getting 2 Mauser rifles, not one. Is what, he informs me. They were working because when the Versailles, treaty monitors would come and look through the paperwork, yep, they turned over, 1,000 rifles or whatever the number was, and they got paid. They got paid a lot for those, but they turned over 1,000 rifles. When in fact they turned over 2,000 rifles. That's why they were double charging, because you have to pay for the steel and the wood. You have to pay the workers. You have to pay to keep the electrical bill to keep the machines operating. So you can't just make rifles for free. You have to pay people along the process. So you can't deliver twice the rifles that you're legally allowed to, or you're publicly allowed to doing so. So there was no point in trying to say this out loud publicly, because even your potential supporters, the people that you had been working with and evading, especially in 1933, when Hitler and the Nazis were still trying to appear to be honoring the Versailles Treaty, even though they were publicly railing against it. It's terrible, but they weren't openly breaking it yet. If they were to come out and attempt to say that they were, evading treaty things, that would get them in hot water with the people who they had been working with and who might still sort of support them. So their company is confiscated. And yes, he informed me that all of the Simpson family gets out in time. Now, they've lost their factories. They've lost a great, I'm not saying they were poor. I don't know. But they lost a great bulk of their wealth in the confiscations, and they used the documentation correctly. So We know that with something like the Simpson company, that's just the smallest of the big factories here. That you can pump out a lot of production. Germany has huge amounts of industrial capabilities and research capabilities. And this is just, to me, I'm, yes. You know, I just feel that this is just not. We need more radio equipment and more support equipment. Okay, I know what we're not producing. Okay, and maybe that would be somewhat alleviated with more small arms factories or whatever. But we're way behind on our research here. It looks like the mod is better tech tree, but it's just a few percentages. So the main problem is research. Way 4 hasn't been solved. Yeah, I think they're doing good work with the mod, and I don't want to jump on them too hard. I feel that they have, well, added too many goodies to the things to be researched, and not appropriately for some nation like Germany added enough, research slots, if you will. Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, they're building tanks in a shed. These two nations aren't. Bulgaria isn't. In the idea that they can sort of kind of produce enough tanks to keep a tank division, without losses, well equipped or with minimum losses. And their technology, so they're cranking out. Um, that's I want to look here. They're cranking out. I want to just see the production number here. These are 2 a day, 2 a day. Okay, well they're more cranking out like 1 a week or something equivalent. Maybe 52. Yeah, but so their research and their development is nothing like Germany's, and Germany should be cranking out so much more of this stuff. Okay, well, well, I think it's time to end this episode. So I want to thank you all for making it this far, listening to me rant about things. Hey, and if you're new around here, hopefully you're subscribing. And everybody, take a little lick of the like button. For each video, just you got to only lick it once. It tastes different. Tell me what this one tastes like. So lick the like button. So see you next time for more, yes, more Hearts of Iron.